Hi, hello everyone. Thanks everyone for joining today. And since people might be joining at different parts of the world, I wish to convey my good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And thanks once again for providing me this wonderful opportunity, RAS and also the Power community. And it's been this global, the automation campaign has been started on 5th of February and still it is going on, still it is still going on till 27th. So I'm super excited and glad to be part of this PowerShell Bootcamp today. And today I'm going to present on automating the Dynamics 365 CE or the Power Platform deployments using the PowerShell scripts. So mainly for the Dataverse, I'm going to show you how you can automate your deployments with the help of PowerShell script. So without further ado, I will get into my session. And here is my topic, automating the Dynamics 365 deployments using the PowerShell script. It includes both the Dynamics 365 CE and also the Power Platform solutions. And let me give a small introduction about myself. Myself, Dharanidharan Balasubramaniam. I am based out of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I am working as a senior technical lead with Exchanging Malaysia, and I am leading the Microsoft BizApps and Power Platform user group in Kuala Lumpur, and also I am a part of Asian's Business Applications and Power Platform user group, and I am MVP in a business applications area. And on the screen, I am flashing my LinkedIn, blog, and Twitter details. And if you guys have any queries, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always glad to assist you on your queries. So let me quickly get into the topic. What is the case study today I have taken is like when I have been assigned as an platform engineer in one of my enterprise organization. So I was typically facing a challenge in the deployment process since that is an the bigger organization, and they felt like none of the deployments should not happen manually. So they felt like they need to do the complete the automation as the complete deployment as an automation process. So that is how I have started working on the CI/CD, the ALM for the Power Platform, all those things. So at that time, I have started a baby step with the PowerShell script. With the PowerShell script, initially I have done the deployment automation, especially for the Dynamics 365 CE. Now that has been extended to the Power Platform and also for the Dataverse. And this is not this we have defined a certain process actually, and this is not a thumb rule like each and everyone should follow the same process actually. For our problem statement and the challenges, we have come up with this automation process. But typically in a larger organization, the multiple developers will be working in the single source instance or developer instance. So as part of our process, what the developer basically they do is like whenever the user story is assigned to the developer, what they do is like they will pick up the user story and they will come up with the solution, and they will present that solution to the SDA Solution Design Authority, and the Solution Design Authority will finalize the solution for that particular user story. So developer will present it to them and they will approve it. Based on their approval only, the developer will start doing the customization and the configuration changes for that particular user story. So once they start working on their user story, they will do their customization and configuration changes in the source environment. Here you can see the source environment here. So here they will do the customization and configuration. Once that is done and once their unit testing is completed, what they do is like they will export the main solution from the source environment and they will check in into their Azure DevOps. So that's what they do. So as part of this today's session, so we are going to see only this process actually. We are not going to see this complete process. So we are going to see only this process. So this one I will show you how you can automate it with the help of the PowerShell script actually, how you can establish a connection to the source environment and how you can export the solution and how you can unpack it using the solution packager and check in the unpacked files into the your Azure DevOps, and then you can pack your solution with the unpacked files. You can exclude the unwanted changes and you can check in only the necessary components, and with the necessary components using the solution packager you can pack those components into a solution and that can be deployed into the destination environment. So that is how we are going to see today. And here is the environment. And this is how we have categorized the environment actually for our automation process. So the default environment, dev, SIT, UAT, and the prod environment. And the default environment, so every user in your tenant can create and edit apps in the Dataverse, the default environment that has a database. We strongly recommend that you create environments for a specific purpose and grant the appropriate roles and privileges only to those people who need them. For example, in the dev environment, only the developers will be having the access, whereas in the SIT, so only the testers, the manual, the functional or the automate testers, only they need to have their access actually. So typically in the UAT and the production environment, only the business users should have the access. But whereas if you go to the default environment in your tenant, so each and every user will have access to the default environment. So it is not a wise idea to use the default environment. So based on your need, you just create your own environment and start using it actually. And dev environment, here only we are maintaining all the true source of all our customization, the configuration changes. SIT, where you test all the functionality against the different types of data by the internal users. And UAT, where you test all the functionalities against the different types of data by the business users. And production is nothing but a go live environment. And next, this is how I'm managing the solution in my Visual Studio. Like this, mainly the solution I'm showing it for the this one Dynamics 365 CE. But whereas in the demo, I will show you how you can manage your Power Apps and how you can manage your the AI model and Power Automate, all those things, how you can manage in your solution. I will explain in the demo. And this is how I'm managing the solution, especially for the Dynamics 365 CE. So here you can see this is a main solution. Under the solution, I have created ALM fundamentals.common, and this will hold all the common business logic which is required by the custom assemblies like plugins, workflows, custom actions, all those things. And next we do have the ALM fundamentals.plugins that will have the Dynamics 365 CE plugin codes. And next we do have the ALM fundamental.scripts that will hold all the web resources like HTML, JavaScript, what are the image file, the PNG file, XML file, what are all the files you have, and that will be available in the ALM fundamental.scripts. And also some of the PowerShell scripts you will be needed in order to automate the deployment process. Those PowerShell scripts also I'll be keeping it over there. And next is the ALM fundamentals solutions that will have hold all your managed and unmanaged solutions of your customization. Okay. And next we do have the ALM fundamental workflows, and this is nothing but the custom workflows. So the custom workflows you'll be having in your project. So and those custom workflows you that will be available in the ALM fundamentals workflows. And here the main thing is like let's start with this automation process. The first and foremost thing we need is the PowerShell script actually. So the PowerShell script, what module we are going to use for in order to automate this process is Microsoft.xrm.data.PowerShell, and it contains two modules. The first is like a Microsoft.xrm.tooling.connect CRM connector.PowerShell, and which is owned and maintained by Microsoft. And second is the Microsoft.xrm.data.PowerShell, which is a wrapper over this connector, providing some of the helpful functions. How you can install is like so just if you go to the PowerShell, open the admin mode, and you can just type install module, then hyphen name, then you can type like Microsoft.xrm.tooling.crm connector.PowerShell, then it will automatically install this PowerShell module into your machine. And for example, if you have installed this the PowerShell module in the past, then please make sure like you are updating this PowerShell module by running the second command, update module name, the Microsoft.xrm.tooling.crm connector.PowerShell. If you run this command, and if you have already installed the Microsoft.xrm.tooling.crm connector.PowerShell, then it will get latest and it will update it into your machine. And before getting into it, let me give a small brief introduction about explain about this Microsoft.xrm.data.PowerShell. This module builds from Microsoft.xrm.tooling.crm connector.PowerShell. On top of this, they have provided some common functions to create, delete, query, and update the data. One is you can use it for that purpose, and also you can establish a connection and you can export the solution, and you can import the solution, and you can publish the customization changes in your environment, and you can set the maximum timeout. All those operations you will be able to do it with this help of this modules actually. And one way of installing is like you can open your the PowerShell window, and over there you can run and you can install it. And other way is like you can install it via the NuGet gallery also. You can install this the PowerShell script actually. And once this is installed, then next thing is like so once it is installed, then this module has this are the main the commands which we will be using it. One is get CRM connection, one is export CRM solution, and the third one is like import CRM solution. These are the main thing we'll be doing it as part of our automation process. First, what we are doing is like as I mentioned, like once the developer completes the user story, and if he or she is done with their unit testing, so next thing what they need to do is like they need to export the customization changes from the source environment. So in order to export the customization changes from the source environment, what they need to do is like first and foremost thing, they need to establish a connection with the source environment. How they are establishing a connection? Using this command, so they can easily establish a connection. So for establishing a connection, we are using the command get-crm connection, and for this we need to pass the credentials, and we need to pass the online type or the organization name. We need to pass it actually. So these are all the main things which is required for establishing a connection. So the type we will mention as an Office 365, and the credentials we need to pass the username and password. And with the username and password, so we will convert this into a secure password, and with the secure password, we are getting the credentials and we are passing the credentials to the get CRM connection. By this way, we are establishing a connection. But in the demo, I will explain in brief actually like how we are establishing a connection. I will execute line by line, and I will show you like how we are establishing a connection and how we are going to export the solution. And this is how we need to export the get the CRM connection. Once the connection is established, then based on the solution type, then you need to increase the timeout for the connection actually. Some solution the size will be bigger, and some solution size will be smaller. So that is, you cannot estimate that as a wild guess. We need to, if the solution is bigger, then we need to have a timeout like 60 the 30 minutes or something. So that is, you need to set the timeout, then you need to run the command export the solution. If you are not setting the timeout for the bigger solution, then obviously the export solution command will fail. And so you need to make sure like you are setting the timeout actually if it is a bigger solution. And here is the export the solution, and here you can see this is the export-crm solution is the main command we will be using it for exporting the solution from the Dynamics 365 CE or Power Platform or the Dataverse environment. For this, what all the input parameters we are going to pass is connection, the solution name, the solution path file, and the solution zip file name. So these are all the 4 parameters we are going to pass it. The connection, as we saw in the previous slide, we have seen how we are going to get the connection. So using the get CRM connection, we'll be getting the connection that it will be stored in the variable the $CRM1. So we are taking that variable and we are assigning it as the connection here. And this is how this command looks actually, -con, and here you need to pass your connection the variable name, and here hyphen again the solution name. Here, what is the solution? What is the name of the solution you are going to export from the source environment? Here you need to provide the solution name. After exporting, you need to mention a path where it should go and save actually. For that only the solution file path. So here we are giving the solution file path, and the solution name we are defining here, hyphen the solution zip file name, and whatever way name we are going to pass it to this variable, with this name the solution will be saved in this particular solution file path. And this is about the export solution. So now, as I mentioned, as a first step, the developer will export the solution, and then they will unpack the solution and they will check in what is the necessary components, and then we are packing and we are going to import it. So now for the import, this is going to be the next one. So here is the import solution, the command. So for the import solution and the import hyphen CRM solution, again similarly like how we are passing it in the export, and here also we do have a certain parameters actually, like the parameter, what all the parameters we need to pass here is like the connection and the solution file path. So if you mention this too, then it will pick the solution which is available in the solution file path, and it will import it this into the destination environment. For this one, this CRM connection here, you need to once again you need to establish a connection to the destination environment, because as a first step we will establish a connection to the source environment, and we will export the solution. But in order to deploy this the solution, the packed solution into the destination environment, we need to establish a connection to the destination environment before calling this import command. Once this import is done, then the next thing what they need to do is like they need to publish the customization in order to reflect the new things getting reflected into the destination environment. After the import is done, then we need to run a command called to publish the CRM customization. So if you run that command, then it will, like normal how we will do the publish all customization, similar way through this the PowerShell module, it will run and it will publish the customization changes into the destination environment. And next here we have the solution packager. As I mentioned, in this automation process, we are going to use the combinedly the PowerShell script and also the solution packager in order to automate this process. So in the solution packager, mainly we have like the two things. One is like extracting the solution. Extracting the solution is like unpacking the solution, like the one zip file will be unpacked into the multiple folders. You can see in the right hand side actually. So this build automation is the solution file. So if you run this extract command, then it will unpack this like this, like entities, like interactions, centric boards, others. It will unpack it into this particular folder format, and wherever the path you are defining over there, it will unpack it actually. This solution packager is a tool that can reversibly decompose a Dynamics 365 or Power Platform or Dataverse solution files into multiple XML files, and the multiple XML files into single files. It works in both the way. If you use extract command, it will take the zip file as a input, and it will split it into multiple files. If you use the pack command, and if you if you give this a folder path, it will pick this particular folder and it will pack it into a zip file. That's what the solution packager will do actually. And we do have the mapping.xml file. For example, in Dynamics 365 CE, so we'll be having web resources, and we'll be having the plugin code, the custom workflows, the custom actions, all those code, it will be there in the in your Visual Studio. So while packing the solution, if you want to map it to the latest Azure DevOps path, then using this mapping.xml, so you can map it actually. This web resources, it while packing the solution where it should pick from. Like similarly, the plugins, the custom assemblies, plugins, workflows, custom actions, where it should pick the latest assembly, you can define it in the mapping.xml. Based on the mapping.xml, and if your solution packager is having the mapping.xml file, then it will take this path, and it will pick the latest DLL from there, and it will pack it. Okay. And this mapping.xml, there are like three ways of doing it. One is like a folder to folder mapping, file to file mapping, and file to path mapping. Generally for the web resources, what I do is like I do the folder to folder mapping, and for the custom assemblies, like for the DLLs, the plugins, the custom workflows and the actions, for that I generally use the file to file mapping. So I will map the DLL file from the source folder to the destination folder, whereas for the web resources, because that web resources will be a multiple files actually. In the source also the multiple files will be there, and in your Visual Studio also, like under, if you expand the scripts, there you will be having, based on your project, you will be having like a multiple files. So in this case I always go for the folder mapping actually. And this is about the solution packager. Like now let me quickly explain in detail about the demo. Like so, and this is the PowerShell script actually. So let me explain the line by line. So as I mentioned, so what we are doing is like the first step. Once the developer completes the user story, so he will connect to the source environment and he will export the solution and he will unpack it. So that is the first PowerShell script. Here I have two PowerShell script. One is for exporting the solution from the source environment, and the next is for importing the packed solutions into the destination environment. So I have split it into two parts actually. The first part is having the export the contact management.ps1, and as I mentioned, so this is the first step you need to do. So you need to import the microsoft.xrm.data.powershell. So if you are having the microsoft the xrm.data.powershell, then you need to update it. So I'm just importing this one. So it got imported. Then once this is done, then what I'm going to do is like I'm going to define all the parameters. So these are the parameters I'm having it. What are the parameters I'm using? The solution name, this is nothing but the schema name, the internal name of the solution, and then the username, password, this is my instance username, password. And here I'm defining the export location where my solution needs to be exported. And here's the instance URL, then region, type, organization, the solution manager, directory, the package type, all those things. I'm just creating a variable and I'm defining the value. These are all the variables I'm going to use it. Okay. And first, as a first step, what we have done is like we have imported the Microsoft.xrm.data.powershell. So once this is done now, and the next thing what we need to do is like we need to secure the password. So here as a next line, so here we are converting the password into a secure string actually. So I'm selecting and I'm running it actually. So here if you select this and run it, I'm just selecting the secure password and running it, and you will not be able to see the value. You will be able to see only the system.security.secure string, because we have secured the string, so you will not be able to see this value. Now, in order to get the credentials, here we are doing it. The new object, the system.management.automation.ps credential. Here we are passing the username and the secure password. Username here we are having it. With this password, we are converting this into a secured password. This one we are passing it to this credentials. So now this credentials is done. Now the next thing what we need to do is like we need to establish a connection to the Power Platform or the Dynamics 360 or the Dataverse environment. So in order to establish a connection, as I mentioned, this is the command get CRM connection. Here we are going to pass the credentials, and the credentials value we are getting it from here. And online type, here I'm going to mention as an Office 365, and the organization name here we'll be getting it. The organization name, how you want to take it is like if you go to your instance, and if you click on this URL, and if you go to the customizations, and once if you click on this environment, and it will take you here and go to the advanced settings. So if you go to the advanced settings, so over there you will be able to see the customizations, the customization, solution, developer resources, all those things you will be seeing it over there. You just click on the developer resources. Over there you can see the org name. Earlier it will come as a org123 some number. It will come like it will start with the org, but now the Microsoft has changed it actually. So recently it is not coming with the org, so it is coming with the GUID. The org ID will be the GUID, and the org name, it is nothing but in the same GUID only, but in between what all the hyphens are there in between the GUID, right? So they have removed all those hyphens. So the name, it will just come, it's the same. The org ID is nothing but a GUID, but the hyphens won't be there. You can pick that from the developer resources, which is available under the customization. If you go here and if you click on this customization, here the right hand side you can see the tab called the developer resources. From there you can pick it up actually. My instance is very slow, so that's the reason. I will just skip this. Yeah, so it got loaded. So if you go to this developer resources, you can see the org name here. So you can pick it from there and you can just copy and paste it there and you can run it. So now let me go back to the PowerShell script. So here we will get the organization name. So now we will establish a connection now. So I will just copy this one. I will run this one. So now it is trying to connecting to CRM. Now the connection is established now. So now if I type, so here you can see now the connection is established. So you can see the connection now. So using this the auth user ID, so the connection has been established to this authority, and you can see the proxy client. So you can see the access token here. The current access token has been generated. So this is how we are doing the authorization now. So this has been connected to the ALM RD environment, and you can see all the necessary details here. Now the connection is established now. So before exporting the solution, what we need to do is like we need to publish the customization, and generally if you are doing it manually, what we do, we just publish all the customization and then we export the solution. The same thing we need to do. So for publishing, so here is a command. So publish CRM public-crm all customization. What this will do is like in generally if you go to the front end and if you do the publish all customization, right, the same thing for publishing, we are just passing the connection string, and if you run this one, this will do the publish, and the publish will take some time. Generally how much time it is going to take it in the front end, the same time it will take it here also in order to do the publish. So let it publish. In the meanwhile, let's go through the export solution command. Once the publish is done, the next thing what we are going to do is like we are going to export the solution. As I mentioned, so export -crm solution is the command which we are going to use it for exporting the solution. So this is the command which is part of a Microsoft.xrm.data.powershell. So for this one, we are going to pass the solution name. So here the short solution name, what we have, I have defined here as an ALM demo. So the same thing, and the export location. So here we have the export location. The folder path you need to define, and the solution file name you need to define. The solution file name also I have defined here. And once this is done, here you need to pass the connection string actually. So once you pass this, so this what it will do is like it will take the connection with this connection. So whatever the environment this CRM call is having a connection, it will connect to this environment and it will try to search for this solution called ALM demo. And if the solution exists, then it will export the solution from this environment and it will put it in this particular path. Here we have defined the export location path, and here it will this ALM demo.zip will be pushed to that particular place actually. Now let me run the export solution command. Yeah, so this will take some time and it will export the solution. And here what we are doing is like this will return the, for example, this export, it will connect to this environment and it will look for this solution. Okay, and if the solution present, then what it will do is like it will export and it will return this parameter. So if I copy this and if I run this, so here you can see the solution path here. So this now this line has executed and it has exported the solution into this. See, here you can see the solution. If I click on this, here I cannot see it actually. I will show you. So this path, up to this particular path, the solution has been exported. And so how in the normal C#, if you write a C# to export the solution, in the execute export solution response, so this is it will return the solution path. The same thing it is returning from this PowerShell this module also. So you can export both the managed and unmanaged solution. We have a property called -managed, and if you define the property as a -managed, then it will consider this as an unmanaged solution and it will export it. If you are not defining that property -managed, and if you define the property -managed here, then it will consider this as a managed solution and it will export the managed solution from the source environment. Since I haven't defined the property -managed, it has considered this as an unmanaged solution and this has been exported. Okay, So once this is done, now next I'm going to use the Solution Explorer to unpack it. In order to do that, first I'm navigating to the Solution Packager folder. So over there only I'm having the in the solution packager there will be a tools folder, so you need to call the solution packager exe. If you use the solution packager exe, then only you will be able to perform the action extract. So here we are defining the we are calling the solution packager exe, and inside that action we have two actually, one is extract and the other one is pack. Now in the first step we are going to extract the solution, so that's the reason I'm using the action extract. Then here the package type, and here we are passing the zip file and where it should be exported, and if you pass this allow delete no, it will just unpack it. If you pass this allow delete yes, then every time it will delete and it will export unpack the solutions, the new solutions, the new unpacked solutions into that particular folder. Now if I run this, now this will run and it will unpack it. See, this ALM demo solution is having only one component, this Canvas app actually. So if you add a multiple solution, if you add a multiple component in the final demo, I will add a few more components into the solution and I will run and show you. See, this is how you will get it actually. See, inside this ALM demo solution, we have only one Canvas app, and that has been exported now. So now if you go to the Visual Studio, so this is my Visual Studio. So here you can see. See here, so here you can see this is having only one Canvas app. So this is how it will unpack the solution. So when I run the first command, the export solution, it has exported the solution from the source environment and it has put it into this ALM demo folder. And in the first PowerShell script only, I have a solution packager command to unpack it. Then if I run this one, then it will unpack this into this particular format and it will give it to you. So you can unpack this and you can save it in your Azure DevOps for the tracking purpose. You can do this actually. Now we have the second PowerShell script. What that will do is like that will pack the solutions and it will import the solution into the destination environment. So why we are going for that is like, so in a multiple organization, the multiple developers will be working in the same instance. So if you are running this PowerShell script here only, we can directly run the import solution. So in that case, what will happen is like uncooked code will get into the destination environment. Just if you export the solution and if you import the solution into the destination environment, for example, I'm a developer A and one more developer is there, okay, and he is currently working on an incident form, okay, incident information main form, and the developer B is also working on the incident information form. But I have a requirement to update the first section and he is having the requirement to update the second section. So in this case, what will happen is like if you are not excluding the changes, the uncooked code will go there actually. What I'm trying to say is like as a developer A, I have completed my unit testing and it is ready for the system testing. But the developer B has not completed the unit testing, the uncooked code is there into the system. Since it is a single form, so if I directly export and import, the uncooked changes will go there. In order to avoid that, what we are doing is like we are exporting and unpacking it like this. And so if you go to that particular form here, the form is not there. Maybe I will go to the other solution and I will show you here. Okay, let me go here. So if you go here, if I go to the incident, so if I go to my form XML, so here if I go here, so here I am working on this first tab, okay, but whereas the developer B is working on the second tab. So if I am seeing, I will compare and see, okay, after exporting I will compare and see if there are changes in the second tab, then what I will do is like I will check it only my changes actually. I won't touch the developer B changes here. In this case, I won't touch the developer B changes so that the uncooked code won't get into the destination environment. If you are not doing this, then if you just export the solution from that environment and if you import it directly, then the lots of the breaking will be there. For example, if he is working on some JavaScript and he just defined the method and he didn't complete anything and he left it orphan there, then obviously the system testing environment, it will throw lots of errors that will end up in creating lots of bugs. So in order to avoid that, we are just unpacking this one. And if you are going to make a For example, the first user story, the developer A user story, one incident form, and if I need to check in one JavaScript file, I need to take those two files and I need to compare and see whether any other changes is coming there or not. If any other changes are coming there, then you should not include those changes. You should check in only your necessary changes. Okay. So once you've done this one, then you can set up in an Azure DevOps to automate the build pipeline. Once the check-in is done into this particular solution, then you can trigger the build definition. In the build definition, so with the check-in changes, then from there you can call the solution packager, the PowerShell script. This file you can call it from there. Let me go to the second file. So this is the second file. So here we are defining the path actually. So here we will pass this path in the solution, the packager.exe. Here we have a pack command. Here you need to define the folder. So which folder you are going to give it to this command to pack it, and the zip file name. What is the zip file name inside this? And how this package type should be, whether it should be an unmanaged solution or the managed solution. What we are doing is like dev and SAT, we are keeping it as an unmanaged one, and then we have the UATI pre-prod and the production. That one we are keeping it, maintaining it as a managed one. Since this check-in will go to the SAT environment, here we are keeping the package type as an unmanaged. Okay. Then this will pack the solution and it will give the zip file into the particular folder actually. For this also the same thing. So I am defining the parameters, the export solution, the solution file name. These are the variables I'm using inside actually. Here also you need to establish a connection. So here why we are establishing a connection is once the solution is packed, then we need to import this into the destination environment, the SIT environment, right? So for that, here we are establishing a connection. So now I will just run the selected one. So we are defining the parameter. Once the parameter is defined, now I will just I will set the location. Okay, now see this location has been set, and the solution packager.exe action pack also has been called, and it picked that particular folder and it has packed this into a solution actually. Okay, so here you can see it actually. So it will take the solution and it will pack it. So once this is done, then we will have the solution file there. Once this is done, then we are establishing a connection the same way like how we have done it in the export contact management. So the similar way, we are just securing the password. Here we have defined the username and password. We are taking that password and we are converting this into a secure string. And then we are passing it to the system.management.automation.ps credential, the username and secure password. And with that, we are getting the credentials object. And this credential object, we are sending it to the get CRM connection. Here the credential, again as I mentioned, the online type will be Office 365. On the organization name, as I mentioned, we need to go to the custom advanced settings. Over there, you can go to the customization. From the developer resources, you can pick this org name, and you need to pass this org name here, and then you can establish a connection. So after establishing a connection, then we need to import the solution. For the importing the solution, we have a command called import-crm solution, and this will take this parameters actually. So the CRM connection and the solution file path. The solution file path I have defined here. The solution file path, file name actually. So here you can see it actually, this one. You can see almdemo.zip. It will go to the particular folder and it will pick the almdemo.zip file and it will import it into the destination environment. And next we do have the publish, the CRM customization. As I mentioned, once the import solution is done, then we need to connect to the destination environment and we need to publish all customization so that the customization changes will get reflected. So this is the PowerShell script. So next I will just quickly go to my environment and I will add two components and I will show you like how it is picking and how it is importing into the environment. So here I will just come to I will go to apps and I will create one just Canvas app. So we'll just save this one. We'll just name it as a contact management system. Okay, so this has been saved. Now I will come here and I will go to the solutions and I will go to the this is my source environment, and if I go to the ALM demo, now here we are seeing only the account management system. I'm adding this Canvas app. Let's go to the before adding, just close this one. If you're not closing this one, then if you try to add this, it will show like the contact management is locked by this particular user. Just close this and then try to add it. So now we have added the contact management solution app also into the ALM demo solution. Now I'm just going back to my PowerShell script and let me just clear this one. So now if I run this, as I mentioned, it will establish a connection, and first thing it will establish a connection, and then it will do the publish CRM all customization. Then once this is done, then it will export the solution using the export-CRM solution, and the solution name we have already defined here, the ALM demo. So it will check for the solution in this particular instance, and if the solution is there, then it will export the solution and it will put it in this export location path. The zip file will be pushed to that particular path. See, now the connection has been established. Now it has started exporting the solution. You can see here, just exporting the solution. So now the solution has been exported. So you can see here, it has been exported to this particular solution folder. And once after the export, what we are doing is like we are using the solution packager.exe, and we are packing this. We are unpacking this actually. Sorry, we are unpacking this. Here we have mentioned extra command. See, the two are there actually. One is contact management, and the other one is the account management. The both apps you can able to see it here. And as a first step, then if you come to the Visual Studio, if you come to this particular folder and if you refresh this path, they can see the changes over here. See, earlier we were seeing only the one Canvas app will have the 3 files. So two Canvas app are there. So it is having the 6 file. One will be XML file, and then the background image URI and MS app file. These 3 files you can see it for one Canvas app. So since it's on 2, we are seeing the 6 files. So the developer, they need to check in only they are necessary. For example, if they are seeing the changes in 3 Canvas app, then they need to check in only their Canvas app actually. So if they check in this, and if they configure the builder definition, I haven't configured the builder definition. I'm just going to run the PowerShell script and I will show you. But if you configure the builder definition based on this check-in that about builder Azure in the Azure DevOps, the builder definition it will run, and the same PowerShell script only it is going to run from the builder definition actually. This import the contact management solution, this PowerShell script is there, right? The same thing only it is going to run from there. Okay, it is going to run from there, and it will pick the solution folder and it will pack it into the solution. Now I will just run this one. So I will clear this and run this. So here you can see these 2 Canvas app files. It is processing the component. Here you can see it will try to check for the entities, roles, what all the things are there. It will try to check for it, and it will the packet into an unmanaged pack completes it. These 2 Canvas files are there. And once this packaging is done, then as a other step, next step, what we are doing is like we are connecting to the Dynamics 365 or the CDS environment, to the destination environment, and then we are importing the solution. And import is completed. Once this import is completed, you can see the import ID here, GUID, And once this import is done, then we are publishing the customization changes in the destination environment. So as I mentioned, we are using the publish ARML customization and we are publishing in the destination environment. So here you can see the publish is completed now. Now if you go to the destination environment, now we'll be able to see the two apps there. So now I will go to the ALM demo. I think I have used the ALM source environment. See, in the ALM source, we can see this solution, ALM demo. So if you open this solution, see here you can see the two canvas app actually. So this is the destination environment and ALM RD is my source environment. So if you come here, in the ALM demo, you can see this two canvas app. This is source environment. If you go to the destination, and destination is nothing but ALM source, here you are seeing this two app. So this is where you can automate your Dynamics 365 CE, the Power Platform components like Power Apps. I have taken an example of a Canvas app. You can do the Canvas app, Power Automate, AI model, and custom connectors, and the Dynamics 365 CE components like web resources, plugins, all those things. What all the things will be able to add it into the solution? All those things you can easily automate with this the PowerShell script. Actually, once this PowerShell script is done, then one thing you can do is like if it is an on-premise environment and all, then you can go to your task scheduler, and in the task scheduler you can configure it like this. See the export the contact management solution. If you double click on this, here I have configured this the PowerShell script actually. So you can configure it like every 12 o'clock you need to export that solution, unpack it, and then if you want to automate this the import process into the destination environment, so you can automate this way. This is one way of automating it without if the developer is not going to check in anything the unpacked thing, then you can go with this solution. And if the developer want to make sure only his necessary components should go into the destination environment, then as I explained, we need to go with that approach. In the Visual Studio, first PowerShell script needs to be run, and as a developer responsibility, they need to check in only their necessary components. And the second PowerShell script, you can automate it in the Azure DevOps that can run and that can pick the folder and it will pack it into a solution, and that can be deployed into the destination environment. So, back to the PPT. So if you have any questions, I'm done with the demo. So if you have any questions, then please feel free to ask me.
Hello there, Dharani. Thanks again. So this session was very important for those people who, where there's a lot of manual tasks around the whole ALM process, for deployments, for solutions. It is a big area, and it is an area that's going to benefit many obviously many implementations, many projects, especially now with Power Apps. So looking at the questions, I think people have been asking questions and they're getting answers. So I think people are just happy with your session. I think the fact that you showed them how to execute the scripts and how the mechanics works with the solution components, I think that helps. I think there's some of the comments around security management and credential management, very valid points on the different approaches to managing credentials as part of these deployments, where there's various options, either using Azure DevOps or using PowerShell Credential Manager, and so on and so forth, which has been a common theme and a common thread throughout today's session. So again, very important and highly relevant, Dharani. So let's have a look to find if there's any more questions. So just lots of good feedback from Ashwini, from Garun, from Kokulan, and everyone else, and Praful and Marcus. Thank you, Marcus, for your comments, and Vangelis, and Praful and Ashwini. Thank you all for your comments. Excellent comments and feedback. One thing I'd like you to do, Dharani, Microsoft MVP, I would like you to share your contact details in the chat, so that the community can keep in touch with you. Your Twitter, your LinkedIn, your blog, as so they can reference back to your resources. That would be great. Now, on the topic, we are obviously last 10 minutes of the event now. So one thing I